Hello everyone, welcome to Dan Does Stuff. Today I want to share with you all 26.2 things that I learned from doing a marathon. This past October 2024, I ran the Twin Cities Marathon. It's my first one I have ever done, and I learned a ton, and I want to share it with all of you. Now this is particular to me, and this is my opinion, so you might find different information at other places or from other people, but I thought this would be a good start for y'all. So in no particular order at all, let's get rolling. Number one, extremely important, shoes. You must go to a running store that does custom fitting and get shoes for your feet, specific to your feet and your stride. Any running store is going to have some top-notch individuals typically there that are going to help you get fitted because those are your bread and butter, and that's what's going to help you run and be comfortable and injury-free. Make sure you try on a ton of different pairs of shoes because all the different brands, even a single brand, has varying arrays of types of shoes for different runners and different legs and different feet and the whole 9 yards. Huge shoes. Number two, time. It takes a lot of time to train for a marathon. Now I'm talking between 3 to 4 times a week. You are running, so it's a lot. And then as you get later into the program, depending on how long it is, you're running a lot more longer distances, which eat up 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on your long runs. It's a lot of time, so make sure that you do have the time to do that. Number three, get a training plan. Go online, there's tons of places that have them. Depending on how long you have to prepare for the race, which I'll say at least do 12 to 18, depending on your physical fitness level. Get a training plan and stick to it. Next up, when you do make the decision to run a marathon, be sure to sign up. That kind of puts it on you to actually go through and do it. Otherwise, you're out of $150 to $210, depending on what it is for the race. So sign up, then start training. Number five, clothing. Holy cow, you wouldn't think this is important. It's very, very important. So I already talked about shoes, but we're going to go to the stuff that you wear on the bod. First off, shorts. You got to have a good pair of shorts, especially if you're running in a warm climate or basically anywhere, because when you're running, you're going to get hot. Got to get a good pair of shorts. They're nice and short because they show your awesome thighs. Kidding, you don't have to do that, but it does kind of help from keeping you cool. You want to kind of look around, figure out something that is, in my opinion, ones with outliners. I kind of talked about some running shorts on a previous video that I got. I say no liners and nice and light, a synthetic material. You do not want to use cotton. Shirt, you want, again, don't want cotton, something synthetic, so to wick away moisture, or wool if you want to go down that route as well. That works great at keeping you hot and cold whenever you sweat and get wet. Underwear, oh man. This, again, is extremely important. I prefer boxer briefs just because they go down past my legs and my thighs kind of rub together. So that just creates that barrier so I'm not getting any chafing. So that's what I wore. Again, a synthetic pant or wool underwear is going to be your best bet. You might be a whitey-tighty sort of guy. Those are cotton, so find some that are a synthetic blend, cotton spandex blend. Socks. To go with your shoes, got to have the right pair of socks. I'm a huge fan of Darn Tough socks, and I wear nothing but 100% merino wool, or they'll have a little mix of spandex in them. I go from wearing just their standard cushion boot sock for running. You wouldn't think they're good for running, but I really enjoyed them. Or the no-show, they're really, really thin merino wool socks. I wear those as well for training and just day-to-day use as well. Number six. You're going to like water. If you don't like water, this isn't probably for you. You got to stay hydrated. You got to drink plenty of water on a daily basis, whether or not you're running that day or not. I mean, we're talking like a gallon a day. So make sure you are drinking water because hydration is key. Number seven, you want to learn how to hydrate on those long runs. Depending on your program, you're going to do once a week of long distance running. Train about putting like water at certain stops so you can understand what it's like to grab water and drink while you're running. Or another great tactic is to slow down at your spots where you drink your water, and then keep rolling. Because if you're drinking quickly, you're going to get some air bubbles, you're going to get some gas, not good. And also a little hint about cold water, that will cramp you. So make sure you're drinking regular lukewarm or air temperature water. Number 8, diet. You are going to be putting a tax load of exercise on your body. You got to be eating right. You got to be hitting up your proteins and carbs because you are going to be burning a lot of calories doing these runs. So make sure you get a good program for you specifically from a nutrition. Get rid of any pop, get rid of any sugars, get rid of any junk processed or beer, alcohol. It's not your friend. You just got to get rid of it and focus on the good stuff. Number 9, learn to study the track. When you sign up for your marathon, you're going to get a layout of the track. Study it. Understand where there's water stops, what they're going to be providing, where there's hills, where there's not hills, and just understand what you're going to be getting into. When you have that in your head, then you kind of know, okay, when I'm doing my training runs, I know at this point in time in the track, I'm going to be hitting this area. There's going to be water stops here, or electrolytes, typically they have as well on the track. Nutrition on long runs, number 10. A lot of people use gels or gummies and chews. There's all different kinds of stuff out on the market. I particularly like the gels. It was easy for me to just pack in my pockets, or I actually used a running belt and just slam those things. I used them about every 4 to 5 miles. I would be using a gel, and that would keep me energized throughout my long runs. Again, it's practice during your training so you understand what works with your body and what might not. Maybe the chews might be better for you, or maybe just smashing on some M&Ms or gummy worms might be your jam as well. So make sure you practice nutrition on your runs and use the exact same stuff that you do in the marathon. Number 11, record and keep track of what you eat and just your runs in general. You want to understand what you're doing for, hey, this distance, and then this is what I ate that day, and then record how you felt. It just helps you understand your body, how you react to certain foods, how you react to certain runs. Maybe you didn't drink enough water, and then you just have a really good understanding of what's working right, or what's working well, and what's working not well for running. So then you're as prepared as possible for a marathon. Number 12, watch, phone, stopwatch, whatever you use something to keep track of your distances that you're running. All I have here is my Suunto Core All Black. It's just an ABC watch. It is not a smartwatch at all, but it does have a timer on it. So I'm able to time how long it takes me to run 5 miles, how long it takes me to run 1 mile, because I have that stuff marked out on my training. So then I could understand what my actual pace is. A lot of people want to go the route of smartwatch. You can do that. You can really get into the details with your heart rate, because that is key when you're running a marathon. You want to keep your heart rate down so you are just not burning yourself out too early and then hitting the wall, as they might say. That's just where you run out of all your energy, all your glycogen stores, and you bonk. And you're just like, meh, you can't do anything. So figure out what works for you. You can do a stopwatch, just a normal watch. Maybe you want to carry your phone with you. I don't like carrying any of that junk, so that wasn't for me. Number 13, running with or without music or podcasts. I learned that running without anything is going to be your best bet. And the reason for that is then you can hear your cadence of your feet hitting the pavement, and you'll understand, okay, this is my rhythm, this is what I do, or maybe you're going to feel off. Not only that, from a safety element, you're not going to be able to hear cars if you're running somewhere where there's cars on a road or whatever. I haven't noise canceling, you don't hear anything around you, but it's really weird because you're like, what do you listen to or talk to yourself the entire time on these long runs? Yeah, you do. For me, I did a ton of prayer. I spent a ton of time with Jesus when I was running. It was probably the best times of my day doing my runs, listening to the cadence of my feet, listening to the world around me, and talking to the Creator. That's what I roll. That's how I roll. If you want to listen to podcasts, do it up. That might help take your mind off it, but you don't want to get injured either. Now we're on to number 14, chafing, bloody nipples, and loss of toenails. Let's start with chafing. This is all for 14. Chafing is legit. For me, my thighs rub together. If I was just skin on skin, dude, it gets wet. It just turns into bad news. Sometimes under your arms, you get chafing there. It happens. One way to kind of like help with that for the legs, if the thighs are rubbing together, again, I talked about Boxer briefs, that helps immensely. I never had any issues there. Or you can get this stuff called Body Glide. Wherever you have anything that's rubbing, use that Body Glide, and then you're like slippery as a seal. Definitely need that stuff on a long run. There's a cat at the door. That's weird. Bloody nipples. That definitely is a legit thing. It never happened with me, but what I ended up doing was when I was running on a long run, I'm like, I actually wore a shirt. I always would run shirtless on my training. I felt this like weirdness, like super sensitive, like touch my nipple. I'm like, ah, and it was my left one. I don't know why my left. Clearly, I must have a bigger pec there. It hurt. If I would have kept going, you bet that thing would have been bleeding like crazy. One way to overcome this, and what I ended up doing when I ran the marathon, I actually wore a runner's jersey, is I lubed up with Vaseline. And that did the trick. Other people use Band-Aids. I didn't want to rock Band-Aids just in case I wanted to throw the shirt and keep doing the marathon, and I didn't want Band-Aids rolling. I just thought it would look weird. Or again, Body Glide, you could rub that on there, and it's just going to help so you're not getting any bloody nipples or chafing on your nipples. Then, loss of toenails. It never happened to me. A lot of people talk about, oh, it's part of the experience of running a marathon. You're going to lose a toenail. It never happened to me. Make sure that your shoes that you get have a large enough toe box and your toes aren't rubbing, and keep your toenails trimmed, man. It's like hygiene. That's like simple stuff. Trim those bad boys. That will help immensely, and you won't be losing any toenails. Number 15. If you're going to run a race on pavement, which a majority of them are, unless you're doing some ultra marathon where you're going half track, half road, whatever, train on pavement. That's what your body needs to get used to. That's what you want to know what's going to be like to run. So run on pavement if your track's going to be on pavement. That's all there is to it. Number 16, run on the side of the road of where the race is going to, or run the race on the side of the road that you train on. A typical road is going to be crowned like this, or they're banked if you're going on a turn, left or right turn. I always would run on the left-hand side of the street, so my body was used to having that slight slope down and to the left. So when I ran the marathon, I tried to stay on the left-hand side of the street just because that's what my body was used to. I didn't want to change anything up. Number 17. Test out how you're going to carry gels. If you're going to carry gels or gummies, wear the shorts or pants or whatever you're going to do that you're going to wear for the marathon, and test out how you're going to carry it. Because if you are training and you're like feeling like some chafing or rubbing on your sides, depending on how you're carrying your gels, then it's just going to be accentuated when you're doing a full marathon, and it's not going to work. So find a way that's going to work best for you to carry your gels, your gummies, or whatever you choose to keep yourself energized, give yourself energy through the run. Number 18, race belt. I ended up using a race belt. I did not want to pin my actual bib, or my race number, to my shirt or to my pants. I thought I was going to run shirtless, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to pin to my shirt. I don't want to pin it to my pants. It'd be all crumply. A race belt actually has two strings hanging out, and you just slide the bib over, and then it has little things that slide on, like shoelace holders, and then your bib just kind of like flies free. You can get on Amazon. I think I got 2 for $12. I only used one. And then I also had little spots where you could put your gels. I was able to pack 6 gels on there, and they stayed on. I didn't feel any chafe because I trained with running with them on, even though I didn't use all 6 gels when I'm doing a 10 miler or a 14 miler. I used a couple. I just want to see how that felt, see if it would fall off. So then when you get to the race day, you're not dealing with any issues. Number 19, make sure you drink plenty of water the day before the race. I talked about before, always stay hydrated, but the day before the race is extremely important. Stick to that hydration, making sure you're drinking plenty of water. I did not do that. I was busy with family, and I got to the end of the day. I was like, holy cow, I'm parched. My pee's yellow. I'm like, this is not good. What was I doing? And it did end up hurting me. I got some cramps on race day, which I never experienced on any of my long runs during training. So make sure you continue drinking water all the way up until race day. Number 20, on race day morning when you wake up, typically it's going to be a morning start, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock start. Be sure to have some water. 16 ounces, I say, 2 hours before, and I like to have a bite to eat. I never ran typically fasted when I would run my runs. I would always have something in my stomach. So what I like to have is a peanut butter and jelly bagel, or peanut butter and jelly toast, or peanut butter and honey. That was another one that I would do a lot of. So I had that, and then drank a lot of water, and then hopefully you can go to the bathroom before you gotta get over to the racetrack. However, they have tons of biffs, but still, there's lines. Tons of people are like, got the nervous dumps or peas, and they're like waiting in huge lines. It was ridiculous. All right, number 21. If you're doing a training plan, you're going to see toward last week or two where your runs drop. You're not going as far as you normally would do. That's called a taper, and that's to prepare your body for actual race day. It feels weird pulling back on your long runs and you're only doing like 3 or 4 miles, especially the week before the race. You're really coming back on the total number of miles that you're running. That's normal, and it's weird. For me, I actually had like weird pains in my knees and my legs where I'm like, what's going on? I read about that. Apparently it's normal to have that, just the feeling in your body. So don't get scared if you do experience that, where previously you weren't feeling any pains during your running weeks. Number 22, the week before the race, make sure you carb load. So you're going to be ingesting all that bread, all that rice or pasta, whatever is your food of choice. Carb load up, you're going to be having more than you typically would. So be sure to do that. And then with that carb load, people say, oh, the night before, eat a ton of food. Well, you're going to be carrying that in your gut the next day. It's not the day before, it's 2 days prior. That's where you eat your huge carb meal, and that's building up your glycogen stores. That's what you use for energy. And then the day before, the night before, that dinner should still be carb heavy, but just not as much as you would have eaten the previous day. So extremely important. Number 23, on race day, don't change anything at all. If you are a 10-minute pacer, a 9-minute pacer, do that for your run. Don't think, I'm going to have some marathon miracle and I'm going to be able to run 2 minutes faster per mile and make it all the way through. Don't do that. You will hit the wall like crazy or you'll get injured. So stick to what you trained and what you practiced during those long runs and hold that pace. Number 24, start the race slow and ramp up. You're going to see tons of people. They're going to be cheering you on. You're just going to be like so jacked, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And you're just going to rip out of the gate and running, like you're running the fastest pace you've ever ran. Whoa, hold your horses. Pull it back. What you want to do is in your mind, tell yourself, I'm going to start slow and build into my marathon pace. So let's say you're a 10-minute pacer. Start off even slower for that first mile. Start at like 11-minute pace and then build up to it. So then after that first mile, then you're in your pace and you roll into it. That will help from injuries, prevent injuries from happening, and everything that I read, you want to do that. You don't want to burn yourself out right off the bat. Number 25, there's going to be water stations all over. Make use of every single one of them. Don't skip them unless you're carrying hydration yourself because that's what you like to do. Then you can ignore this. But I learned, hit up each of those water stations. You're going to typically have water and then an electrolyte as well. Make use of both. Hit them both up. And what might make it easy, I didn't do this on my marathon, but I did it on a half marathon that I ran shortly after, is I basically got my water and then walked through the water station, like walked and drank my water so I wasn't like spilling all over myself like I was in the marathon, and then toss my cup in the trash and then get ramped up and going. It was like a nice little break to slow down and then get back to my rhythm. That might work for you as well. But again, don't skip those water stations. Make use of them. Number 26, the final 6 to 8 miles, it's going to be new territory for a lot of you people. If you are sticking to a training plan, you've never done a marathon in your life, never ran long distances, those miles are going to be something you've never done before. Typically, a training plan is going to be, the longest run you'll do is 18 miles, maybe even 20 miles. So you really just got to sit tight, lean into your actual training plan, and trust the plan. You did all this work. Just trust the plan, trust your body, listen to your body, and just roll through it. A lot of self-talk helps as well. Like, I'm going to finish. whether you like it or not, body, you're rolling with it. So be sure to just trust that in those final 6 to 8 miles. Then finally, 26.2 thing that I learned is listen to your body and have a ton of fun. This is going to be an experience for those of you who have never done this that is going to blow your mind. Not many people do it. You should be very, very, very proud of yourself if you do this, because it is hard, it is challenging, it's extremely rewarding. So be sure to just enjoy it. You're going to see tons of people cheering you on. Soak it all in and just have a blast. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you're debating going and doing your own marathon. Heck, I'm 40 years old. I never thought I'd run this far in my life, much less even do a marathon. God put it on my heart and I said yes, and he provided as he always does. I actually ran this marathon through my church, through World Vision, which is an organization that provides water for kids all over the world. $50 saves a kid's life. It's an amazing organization. You can take a look. Again, it's World Vision. Super awesome. Maybe you're going to want to do your first marathon. You could get in touch with them and run for them and raise some money to save some lives. Thanks for watching, y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe.